Hi, my name is Molly Harnish. I'm a junior in Mason's Honors College, majoring in economics and minoring in math and public policy, and I'm originally from outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am involved in Mason Ambassadors. I've been an ambassador since my freshman year. I have also been a member of Mason InterVarsity since my freshman year. In sophomore year, I got involved with the George Mason Economics Society. I became their webmaster and ran their blog for a year and a half, which was a lot of fun. And I also did research with the Schar School's Undergraduate Research Assistant Program with Dr. Jennifer Victor, and I studied abroad in Oxford last semester. Sure, I'll try not to talk for too long about my research. So for the past couple of years, I've been interested in environmental economics and specifically in how ownership of natural resources affects how those resources are used. So whether a government owns it, a community owns it, or a private individual owns it, and what that means for maybe resource depletion or resource sustainability. So my specific question is, what is the impact of an increase in the share of public timberland ownership in Florida on the private timber industry? And I'm going to start doing that. I started it in Honors 361 last fall, which is an upper class honors elective where you can develop your individual research project. So I worked on it then, came up with a proposal through that class, and then I submitted it to Oscar, and I will be working on it through the Undergraduate Research Scholars Program this summer. So I got a grant to start my project officially, which is really exciting. And then I'm hoping to continue it as my undergraduate thesis with the economics department in the fall and the spring. I've been really fortunate to have some really good internship experiences. So we'll go in reverse order. Last summer I interned at the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond. I actually applied for it because I heard about it at Mason's Career Fair. But once I was their research publications intern. So I got to write a full-length article that got published, and that was about economics and climate change. I also got to write a couple of smaller pieces and go to pitch meetings and learn to copy edit and fact check. And I got to hear from economists who came to visit the department, economists who work there, and research assistants who were students just out of college who had gone there to learn more about a career in economic research. So definitely learned a lot about different career paths that were open to me, and got to write, which I love. The summer before that, I interned at a small firm called Tourism Economics here in Pennsylvania. So that was also a great experience. I learned a lot about the tourism industry. And in the spring of my freshman year of college, I interned with the Mercatus Center, which is an economic research center on campus, and I got to talk to PhD economics students and students from other universities, as well as economists in my field who I really, really enjoyed working with and speaking to. And I actually still work for them. That panned into a job. So I'm working there this summer, as well as completing some research. So I've had some really, really good experiences. Study abroad was awesome. It was a little shorter than I anticipated, but that's the story everyone's telling these days. So I studied abroad in Oxford, and one of the distinguishing features of Oxford is its tutorial system. So for the whole Oxford term, you are assigned 2 tutors, one for each of the subjects that you've chosen to study. So I studied the economics of the European Union and healthcare economics, both of which proved to be hugely relevant. I was over there during Brexit, and healthcare economics needs some explanation. So I met with each of my tutors for those topics, and they gave me an essay prompt and a bunch of readings to do and said, go forth, write me an essay and come back next week and we'll talk about it. So it was definitely a different style of learning, but I loved it. You're in the library all day reading about topics that you've chosen. So it was a wonderful experience. Oxford is a great city. I made friends with British students and American students from other universities, other students from Mason, international students. It was a really wonderful experience. I highly recommend it, and I miss Oxford already. Why Mason? This is my favorite question because it makes me feel like I'm giving a tour again. This is the last stop on any of our tours. So I applied to Mason because my dad strongly suggested that I do so. The school was not really on my radar. I wanted to go to a small liberal arts school at least 5 hours from my house. Mason checks none of these boxes. But, I applied and thought nothing more of it pretty much. And then I ended up going to the Celebration of Excellence with my mom. And, we did the tour and we went around to all the tables and we talked to students, and we ended up sitting down on a bench near the Mason statue. And I said to my mom, yeah, Dad was right. This is a great school and it checks all my boxes. It has everything I wanted. Because more than going to the type of school that I thought, I wanted to be able to do research, and I loved the opportunities at Mason. I loved the major and the classes that I could take. I loved being close to DC and the opportunity to just metro in whenever I felt like it. And what really sealed the deal for me was the people that I met. And I know that sounds corny, but I met people who were different from me in every single way possible. And that opened my eyes to what, college could be. And I knew that Mason would challenge me, that these people who thought differently than me and looked differently than me and had different backgrounds than me would challenge me and push me and change me. And that was ultimately what I wanted. So, when I had my acceptances in and I was trying to decide where I would go, I knew that Mason was the place that would change me and stretch me and challenge me the most. And that was a big part of my decision. I wanted to go somewhere where that was true, and I wanted to go to a school that drew the kind of people that I met that day. I've never regretted it for a second. I am really, really glad that I chose Mason. And to everyone who's applying to college and trying to figure out where you're gonna go, I hope you choose a place that challenges you and that stretches you, because ultimately it's gonna feel like home too.